Okay. Do you see my presentation? Perfect. So welcome to everybody. I am Eli Monfil. I'm the technical coordinator of ProBleu. And here today with me, there are some other ProBleu members. We have Mary, that is the communication officer from my same institution. We have Ana Ribeiro and Pedro Costa from Innovamais, who are the team on charge of these calls. And we have also Anna Whiter from Earthwatch, one of the partners of this project that I will introduce you. I'm going to start explaining you who we are in ProBleu. We are 6 partners from different countries. The first one is the Instituto de Ciencias del Mar. It's a research center in Spain, where I work. And Mary also. We have Innovamais, that is a company based in Portugal. We have the Kaunas University of Technology in Lithuania. Earthwatch Europe, which is an important NGO related to fresh water, that it's based on the UK.
The safari,
and also the Plymouth Marine Laboratory, that is a research center in the UK, and the Ocean Conservation Trust, that is a big marine NGO, also located in the UK. Our project, ProBleu, is a European project that started on June 2023, and it will finish on May 2026. Our aim is to promote ocean and water literacy in school communities. And what we want to do is to expand and support the network of European Blue Schools, attracting a wide diversity of new members in this network, so helping them and supporting them, and also improving ocean and water literacy across the school communities, creating different resources for teachers and helping them with some other tools. And we want to contribute also to the objective of the EU mission, restore our ocean and waters by 2030.
And sorry to interrupt, Ellie. There is someone talking, so we ask everybody who is not intervening at the meeting to shut down the microphone, please. Okay. If we
yeah, I will ask them to move to another room. One moment. Okay, sorry. They stop. So I will come back to the previous presentation, to the previous slide. So as I told you, ProBleu is a European project that started on June 2023, and it will finish 3 years later. Our aim is to promote ocean and water literacy in the school communities. And what we will do will be to expand and support the network of European Blue Schools, attracting more diversity of new members, and also improving ocean and water literacy across the school communities, creating different tools to support teachers and schools. And also we want to contribute to the objective of the EU mission, restore our ocean and waters by 2030. And we will work in the EU countries and associated countries. All of these objectives will be done through different tools. The first and the most important is our funding calls. We have 4 different funding calls that want to help the schools to develop different projects related to ocean and water literacy. Also, we will create different resources, the educative resources, educational resources that will be developed through our project. And we will create a new website where all these different educational resources will be available for all the teachers. And we will create different tools to facilitate the growth of this network of European Blue Schools, because we want to increase it 10 times the size as it has at the beginning of our project. If you are not familiar to European Blue Schools, European Blue School is a kind of a school that brings the ocean into the classroom. It doesn't matter if it's a primary or secondary school. It's a school that uses project-based learning to engage students with marine and maritime and freshwater topics to create awareness for the ocean and for the river, okay? So these kind of schools are in a network, the network of European Blue Schools, that is coordinated by a coalition, the EU4Ocean Coalition, that it's composed for different kind of institutions around Europe specialized on ocean literacy. And we, as ProBleu project, will help this network to increase, but we are not the people who manage this network. So this is something very important, because in all the in our calls, we will promote that all the schools engage into this network, but we are not the ones responsible to this network. Okay, so just we want to present you this network. By the moment, it's a big network around Europe with more than 260 different schools certified by this network that are working in the different basins. The most of them are from coastal regions, but there are some of them in inland regions. In this link that you have here, you can find more information about this network and how to become a member of it, because it's something that we will ask you if you receive ProBleu funding, that we'll explain it later. But all the projects that will be funded by our funds will have to apply to be a European Blue School. And there are two different periods during the year to apply to be a Blue School. There is a first period at the beginning of the year that now it's open, and you can apply until the 30th of May. And there is a second period at the end of the year. So when you want to be a school, you apply to this network with your project, and then the network says if you are if you accomplish the criteria that they have, and then you get certified as a Blue School. Okay, but there is something very important, that if you don't receive our funds, you can also ask to be a member of this network, and you can also have the access to all the resources that will be created in ProBleu project, and also in this network. Now I give to the floor to my colleague, Anna, to introduce you to the codes.
Okay. Thank you, Ellie. Good morning, everybody. I'm Anna from Inova Mais from Portugal. To introduce, or before I start to describe this call for proposals, for whoever wants to, I would ask you to for the participants to write here in the chat if you are from a school. I suppose that you are somehow connected to a school, and most importantly, if your school is from the NEBS, the Network of European Blue Schools. So it is this network that Ellie was describing. So I will write here just the initials on the chat. It's NEBS. It stands for Network of European Blue Schools. Because as Ellie was saying, this is an important component of our funding, of the funding of ProBleu and also of other projects. So we wanted to understand if you know this network and if your school belongs to this network. So if possible, I will continue to talk and to present our call for proposals. But if possible, please write in the chat if your school is a member of NEBS, or if you know about NEBS, or if you don't know, so that we understand how familiar you are with this network. Okay, in the meanwhile, I will continue to present this call. So as Ellie was saying, we are the ProBleu project. This is one of 3 projects that are organizing this type of funding calls. It is the second time that we are doing this, so which means that in the end of last year, we launched another call to support this kind of projects, and now we are on the 1st of March. We launched a new one. So this is this period until the end of April. The competition, let's say, is open. So each school from EU 27 plus another 14 countries, you can apply to receive up to 10,000 euros funding, as long as you are from a school that is a primary or secondary school. So this is more or less, we put in the call, this is said level 3, but basically it's until the 12th grade in most countries. So more or less with the children, youngsters until 17 years old. So this is the type of schools, primary and secondary. If possible, I would ask Ellie or Mary to put the presentation. And in the meanwhile, thank you for your participation. So you can see in the chat some participation. Some participants are saying one is not from the NEBS. Let me go here again to the chat. Okay. Another one not member of the NEBS. One, yes, EU Blue School since last June. Another one, certified Blue School. We are not member, but we are really interested in doing it. Another one doesn't belong. Okay, great. You can continue to participate, and thank you for this. So before moving on, since this is sometimes it can be a bit confusing for those who are not so familiar, I will call it just NEBS, okay? So that I don't have to say every time Network of European Blue Schools. So let's say that NEBS is a big thing. It's a big network, okay? It's a network that is above our project and the other projects. It's a network that already existed before. It will continue to exist. And let's say that this NEBS is like the ultimate, the final objective of all of these initiatives. But it is, at the same time, it is different. It is not what is subject of this call. So it is connected, but it's not the same thing. So one thing is the NEBS, the Network of European Blue Schools. Another thing is ProBleu. What connects them? What connects them is that you can use, and you should use, ProBleu as an opportunity to join the network of for European Blue Schools, because the topics are similar. The final objective is similar, which is basically blue literacy. So it is to promote the literacy and the knowledge about preservation of the oceans and of the waters, engagement of the schools and of the students. So the topics are very similar. It is what you see in this slide to meet the mission, restore our oceans and waters. But again, these are separate projects. So when you apply to ProBleu, what we are showing here today, this is an application for a project under ProBleu, under the ProBleu funding. What we ask you within our funding is that you also apply to the network of European Blue Schools, okay? But you, if you want to apply for both, you do need to have two different application processes. One thing is this application for ProBleu, so that you can receive the financial support for your project in case it is approved. Another thing is for you or your school to apply to the network of European Blue Schools. So it's two different application processes. Here in ProBleu, we ask you to apply to the network of Europe for European Blue Schools. So we want to take this opportunity to encourage schools to be a member of this network. So I know this is a bit confusing, and I'm sorry for this, but the main thing that I wanted to highlight is that the application processes are two, they are separate. So when you are applying to ProBleu, uh, this doesn't mean that you are applying to the network of European Blue Schools and the other way around. So if you apply to the network of European Blue Schools, you are not applying for the funding of ProBleu. So you need to do these two separate processes. Okay. You will see that in the end we also have an email for clarifications, and we will have a questions and answers moment at the end of this session. So if you have doubts, we can talk about that. Anyway, so we are talking about ProBleu. This is our second call until the end of April, until the 30th of April. You can apply to ProBleu to have your project supported with a sum up to 10,000 euros. But there is this permanent connection with what you see there, the mission, restore our oceans and waters by 2030, and to foster more schools to join the NEVS, the Network of European Blue Schools. As I was saying, the eligible candidates, the who can apply, it's primary and secondary schools. This includes vocational schools of the EU 27 member states, and also another 14 countries that you can find in the call for proposals document. So it is schools that need to apply. This means that, for example, you cannot apply individually as a teacher, for example, or any other type of organizations that owe the school. Um, these are not eligible applicants, so it's schools that need to apply. In the case of Portugal, just to highlight that we have these organizations, let's say, that we call the school clusters, agrupamentos de escolas. So in this case of agrupamentos de escolas, the schools can apply individually. Okay, so the fact that one school of one cluster is submitting an application doesn't mean that another school from the same cluster also, so they can also submit an application. Okay, next slide, please. So a very brief overview of what is this, what are we funding? So these are blue literacy projects. The type of funding available, it's in these three categories. So it's a very simple funding system. You have small, medium, or large scale projects with 2,500 or 5,000 or 10,000 euros. Um, so these two, we called it small, medium, or scale projects, but this is, like a relative designation. And this is the type of funding that we are prepared to give to support the projects. How can this funding be used? So what kind of expenses can be associated to this funding? Travel, so travel, accommodation, and subsistence. For example, if one of activity that you propose is to take the students to a visit or to do an activity outside of the school, for example, or if you want to invite someone, an expert or a group, well, I don't know, from another school, for example. So the expenses associated to the traveling of these of the participants in the project can be covered. Purchase and renting of equipment. For example, I don't know, there are these very specialized photo machines or one equipment that needs to be rented to perform some observation of the waters or to do some kind of analysis. So it's this kind of equipment that you can purchase or rent to perform the project. Consumables, this can be from paper to, I don't know, other materials that you may use for experiences related to the project. Other goods, works, or services. So, for example, if you organize an event within the project, this can be to buy something for the organization of the event, also to invite someone to speak, an expert to speak in the event or in a classroom. It can enter here in other goods, works, or services. And also the translations. So if you can see in the document that we call the call for proposals, that we strongly advise when you develop materials for your classes, for your subjects. We would like very much that you have these materials also translated in English, so you can develop them in your language, but it would be great if you could translate them to English so that other schools can also use them, and you can put the expenses related to translation services also here in your budget of the project that you want to apply for funding. So on the right side of the screen, you can see some possible activities that you can put in your project or around which you can develop your project. So you can have data collection with citizen science kits. You can organize different types of events. Please remember that the participation of the students is very, very important. So all these kind of events, workshops, meetings, conference, training, field trips, etc. Here, the role and the participation of the students is very important. I ask, please, Alfonso, to thank you, and everybody that that is not speaking, please close the microphone. So there in the screen, you can see different types of activities that you can organize. And again, I stress that, of course, that the topic is important. So blue literacy, preservation of the oceans, of the waters, biodiversity, etc., with activities that have a strong involvement of the students. Outside from this, I think I can say that there is quite large flexibility in terms of how you want to design your project, and in many cases, many schools, many teachers and students actually already have ideas of projects or activities that they would like to perform, to promote blue literacy. They just don't have the funds, so this would be a good opportunity. Next slide, please. So how does this work? We put here the main steps. So the first thing you need to do is to go to the website of the project. I know that yes, that the Mary and Ellie, they have been pasting all the information, which is great. So our website is probleu.school. And from there you can reach to all the website is very simple, so it's not at all hard to find the information. So first step, go to our website, check the information there about the call for proposals, and download the important documents that you see there. The first one, call for proposals, the template for the project description form, and the template for declaration of honor. So these are the key documents. I will briefly just share my screen just to show you the call for proposals and the template for the project description. These documents, these are fundamental documents for your application, okay? The first one, the call for proposals, is like the Bible or the sacred book. I don't want to be okay, let me, it is here. So this is the reference document. Sorry, now I'm sharing. Yes, I think I'm sorry, I'm not sharing the call for proposals. Uh, yes, it is here. Okay. Okay, so when you download this document from the ProBleu website, it is this that you should see. Okay, first page, call for proposal, second ProBleu call. So you need to take reference of this document. This is the document that explains everything, the spirit, let's say, of the call, the objectives, the type of activities that can be proposed or presented, the topics that should be addressed. So what kind of issues can you address in your project? We have these two lots. So in order to apply for this type of projects, it doesn't have to be only about ocean, because some schools can say, oh, we are not close to the ocean, so this doesn't have to do with us. It doesn't have to be related with oceans. It can be just waters or rivers or water in terms of quality of the waters. So here you have this explanation, a more detailed explanation of the types of activities that can be included in the project, the duration of the projects, the calendar that you need to have into consideration, the eligibility conditions, and very important here, the part of the budget and the type of expenses that you can include in your project. And here, very important, the evaluation criteria. So here you can see the aspects that the evaluators are going to consider when selecting the projects that will receive funding. Okay, so by checking these, you can see what are the important factors, and you can shape your project in the way that it is more valued in the evaluation. So then it has here a detailed description also about how to apply. So this is the key document, the call for proposals, the first document that you need to check. Then the other one, that is the template for the project description form. It is also very, very important. I'm going to share it briefly. Let me see. Okay. Can you see it? Project description form?
No.
Mm. So I suppose I'm sharing another different. No, I'm not sharing anything. I thought I was. Now I think you can. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the project description form. This is the file that you need to use to describe your project, okay? It is also a very, very important document. There are here very brief instructions, and this is the document that you have to complete. It has some questions and some guidelines about how to answer these questions to explain your project. So basically, the proposal for your project has to be included here in this document. So this is the document where you will present your project. You have to use this PowerPoint, this PDF template. You cannot just copy these questions and put it in a Word file, for example. You cannot add more pages. You really need to use this just the way it is, okay? So this is a bit a lesson learned from the first call, where some schools were a bit creative in using this, but it is exactly this PDF form that you need to use. So you just have to write here and in the end save and submit. Okay, sorry for this insistence, but it's to call for your attention for the importance of these two documents. So it was the call for proposals that has all the rules, the evaluation criteria, the topics that you need to address, the budget, everything. And this second one, the PDF form. So if we could go back to the presentation again, please. So the first step was to download the documents from the website of ProBleu to read all the guidelines. There is another template, the template for declaration of honor. I'm not going to show this because this is just one sheet with this, more formal commitment that the information there in the application is true and that you are not under any kind of EU restriction. So it's this formal document. So once you have these key documents on your side, of course, discuss and elaborate your project idea in a way that fits these rules that we have. So by then you will have read the call and you know what are the topics that can be addressed in this kind of projects. You know the type of activities that can be subject to funding. You know also what we advise or what we give more value in terms of evaluation, the participation of students, for example, the twinning with other schools, etc. So with that, you can shape your project. Another important aspect, the duration. In this call, the projects must have a maximum duration of 12 months and minimum of 3, okay? So between 3 and 12. But one important issue is that if you choose that your project has the duration of 12 months, it has to start in the first day when projects start. So this means the projects need to end until July 2025. Okay. So there cannot be a project that ends after that. So you know, again, the type of activities, what is valued. You know that your project can last maximum 12 months, that can receive maximum 10,000 euros. So you, in your school, you discuss your project idea. Again, probably you already have some ideas of activities related with blue literacy that you wanted to organize in your school. And you, let's say, shape your project. Then the next step is to prepare the application. So preparing the application consists of first to use the project description form. Remember that PDF that I just showed. That PDF, it corresponds to the description of your project. So there you have to answer to the questions there, like how is your project going to be developed, how many students do you intend to involve in your project, what is going to be the impact of the project in the community, how will you communicate your project. So it has all these questions there that will allow us to evaluate your project. So this is a very important form that you need to complete. And you also have to complete an online application form. Okay, so this is basically a questionnaire, a simple questionnaire on Google Forms that is accessible through the website of ProBleu. This online application form is only with the information, the name of your school, the name of the person that is going to represent the school, the topics that you selected. So very basic information, but it is this form that you need to submit. So you complete this online form. I will call it Google form just to simplify things. This simple Google form, you need to complete it, and then you need to attach the PDF with the description of the project and the declaration of honor that needs to be signed by the legal representative of your schools. I see here, I'm not checking all the questions, but can we have an email address to reach out to you after some verifications? Yes, I mean, there is an email for clarifications. But talking about emails, when you submit your application, you also receive an email to confirm that your application has been submitted. So when you submit your application, if you don't receive an email, it means that there was some problem, that your application was not submitted. So this is the last stage. Again, go to the online application form, complete this form. Okay, thank you. It's great that we have here this image of the form. So on the right, on the left, you have the online application form, the simple one. So the Google form, let's say, that you access via our website. As you see, just the name of the applicant school, then it has more fields, but they are simple. And this form then includes the buttons for you to upload the project description and the declaration of honor. On the right side, you see the project description form. So it is this PDF that I was showing with here, where you have to have a more detailed description of your project. So besides this, as I was saying, it's the declaration of honor that is a one-page document that needs to be signed by your legal representative. So this is it. In terms of preparing your application, we try to make it as simple as possible. This is the second call of ProBleu, as I was saying. So we try to improve some aspects since the first call to this one, but of course there are always room for improvement, and we want to make this as accessible as possible. So here, some calls for attention. I think I already said some 10 times that the document of the call for proposals is important. So it was the first document that I showed to you with all the rules and the topics and the evaluation criteria. So this is the crucial document with all the rules. Also connected to this. So perhaps today or in some info session, we may not express ourselves so good or so well, or perhaps you didn't understand, or there were some difficulties in terms of communication. So if this happens, the valid information is the one of the call for proposals. Okay, so let's imagine that in terms of budget, I was not able to explain clearly some aspect that you asked about, or you don't understand well. So in the last case, what is valid for clarification of any questions is, again, the call for proposals. So also, of course, you can use these automatic tools for translation, also to translate to understand better the call for proposals. But again, if there is a serious doubt of interpretation of some aspect, what is valid is the English version of the call for proposals. So this is all this is always the main reference in terms of the rules. So finally, I think, yes, this is just to give you an overview of how this process goes. So the call open on the 1st of March. You will have until the 30th, until the end of April to submit your application. After you submit your application, we start the evaluation process, which means that first we are going to see if your school and application are eligible, if you are a primary or secondary school, if you submitted the declaration of honor, so these basic aspects. Then we will evaluate in terms of quality all the projects and select, considering the money that we have for this second call, we will select the projects that will receive our financial support. And then towards the middle of July, we will have the contract signed, and the projects can start from the 1st of August, okay? It doesn't mean you will have to put in your application when you intend your project to start. It doesn't need to start on the 1st of August, and we know that many schools are closed in August. So it can start later, but as I was saying before, your project, in case it's funded, it needs to end by July 2025, okay? So this means that if you want your project to have 12 months, it has to start on the 1st of August 24, because it cannot end after July 25. If you want your project to start after August, for example, if it starts in September, it will only last 11 months. So please be aware of this also, because this wasn't very clear from our side in the first call. Just some two final remarks. I know that Pedro wants to talk. So ProBleu, I will talk about the topics and I pass the word to Earthwatch. ProBleu is one of 3 projects that is giving this kind of financial support to schools that want to develop projects related to blue literacy. So don't be surprised. On the contrary, if you receive promotion or advertisement, let's say, from other projects that also develop that are able to fund this type of projects. One important thing is that you can apply to others, but you can only receive funding once. Okay, so if your school receives the financial support from ProBleu, then you cannot apply to another call in ProBleu because you already received once, and you cannot receive financial support from the other projects that are also developing these activities. One final remark for the schools that applied to our first call. So some schools already presented applications between November and January, when our first call took place. These schools didn't receive yet the results, so we haven't finished the evaluation process yet. So if you applied in the first call, you can apply now in the second call, at least in these days, because you don't know if your project has been funded. So if you received our communication about this second call, it doesn't mean that you were not selected for funding in the first call. It doesn't mean anything, because we just didn't finish the evaluation process yet. Okay, because some schools apply to the first call and they are asking us, oh, I'm receiving information about the second call. Does this mean that my proposal was not approved? No, it doesn't mean anything because these are separate projects. If you apply to the first call and you will receive information on the 23rd of March, if you see that your project, that your school receives financial support, okay, then you cannot apply to the second call or to any other ProBleu or other projects funding for Blue literacy projects. Um, so just to end from my side, in this screen, you can see the topics that can be addressed by your projects. We ask in the applications for schools to choose between 1 and 3 of these topics. So these are the themes that you want to address or tackle in your project. Next, our partners from Earthwatch are going to show some examples of projects carried out by schools that address these topics. There isn't any relation between the evaluation and a number of topics. Okay, so for example, if you only choose one topic, or if you choose 3 topics, you are not going to get a higher score because you choose to address 3 rather than 1. So we just want that you choose 1 to 3 topics, and what is important is that your project really addresses, so it is really connected to these topics and somehow helps to solve the problems that are identified in these topics. That's it. I don't know if Pedro wants to talk before passing the word to Earthwatch.
Yes, just thank you for the presentation, and briefly just to inform you that on the website you also find a list of frequently asked questions that included doubts from past call and from the current call that schools sent it to us, and there are already some answers there that can help you in clarify some doubts that you might have when reading the call for proposals and when preparing your project. So we also want you to consider that source of information, the frequently asked questions, because some of your doubts might already be answered there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pedro. In the end, I will pass now the word to Earthwatch, and in the end, we will show you the contact email in case you have questions, because I'm checking here, there were some questions in the chat. And we will also have a question and answer time today. So I hope we can clarify some issues. But for now, I will pass the word perhaps to Luigi or to Anna, so to Earthwatch, that is also a partner in ProBleu.
Thank you. Yes, hi everyone. I'm Anna. I'm a researcher at Earthwatch. So yeah, I'm just going to talk you through some examples of projects. So if I could have the next slide, please. So here we have a QR code and this link, which will take you through to plenty of examples, hundreds of examples of projects that have been presented to NEBS. So you can find examples here that will hopefully give you some inspiration for projects. I'll give you an example, a more detailed example of 2 of those now. So if we go to the next slide. So yeah, this first example is called Carmen Silva, which is a school in Romania. This is a secondary school project about the Black Sea Basin. So here they're investigating the increase of red and green algae in their area. They carry out weekly in situ monitoring as well as laboratory monitoring. They record things such as temperature, pH, conductivity, salinity, dissolved oxygen, nitrites, nitrates, ammonium and phosphates. And they publish this data on their website on a monthly basis. So they're partnered with their local university, the National Marine Research Institutes and the local city hall. So next slide, please. So here we've got another example. This time it's by a primary school in Poland. So this project also investigates a sea basin, this time in the Baltic Sea. So here lessons have been created around the history of the Baltic Sea, Baltic Sea ecosystems and issues of pollution in the Baltic Sea. So they've explored these challenges through creative means this time. So they've done arts and crafts classes, creative games, and educational puzzles, as well as an art competition. So you can see these projects can be really quite scientific, doing laboratory monitoring, or they can be much more creative. And so this example here is partnered with the Marine Culture Centre. Next slide, please. So yes, those two were marine examples, but we do actively encourage freshwater projects as well as marine. So some example of freshwater projects here. These are just sort of some ideas. So for example, you could tie it into economics and do an economics project called something like Rivers and Resources Analysis. So this is looking into the economic benefits and drawbacks of de-damming projects. You could also tie it into geography with a geography project. So this example, students could plan and execute a virtual or field expedition and document physical and human geography characteristics. A science project could look into a river restoration lab. This can be where students can explore the ecological impacts of dam removal. They can utilize Freshwater Watch citizen science kits that we have to explore water quality. So yeah, those are some examples. I hope that helps sort of give some context and inspiration on the types of projects that you could be doing with your schools. Yeah, I'll pass back to the Innova team now. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. So this is our last slide before opening up for questions. Just to say that again, I know that we have some questions in the chat and we will try to address them. So as Pedro was saying, in the website, you also have this FAQ, frequently asked questions. We are more or less constantly updating this part. So here we have the what we think are maybe the basic doubts that schools can have. So before also writing to us or before wondering that you cannot apply, check this part of the FAQ, because some questions are very common among schools. Every time we receive a question from your side that we think is useful for other schools, we update the FAQ with information that may be relevant for everybody. So it has some nice tips there, I would say. But always check, besides the FAQ, the call for proposals. The call for proposals is fundamental, and you will see that in the FAQ, sometimes we write, go to the call for proposals and check. Still, besides the FAQ, if you have some specific questions, you can write to this email address that you see there on the screen. So ProBleu@probleu.school. Since the call closes on the 30th of April, please write to us until the 25th. We try to answer to all questions in a reasonable time. Sometimes we take a little bit more, but in these days before the call closes, we cannot guarantee. If you write to us after the 25th of April, you know, there is some overload of work because everybody tends to submit their applications in the last days of the deadline. So we cannot guarantee. If you write to us after the 25th of April, we cannot guarantee that we will answer to you in time. So I open now the microphone to any questions. Thank you for your attention. I hope I was relatively clear, but perhaps not so much. I'm just going to go through some questions here. I think there was a question about a school in Poland. It is an elementary school. So in principle, an elementary school can apply. So it is from Poland, that is an eligible country. It is an elementary school, so it corresponds to a primary school. So this is an eligible participant for our ProBleu call. Does anyone have other questions? I'm not able right now to go through the chat to see all the questions, but I'm checking now. One of Maria João Sacadura, is the rule of the 30% about the number of schools or amount of financing? I suppose this refers to the minimum 30% primary and minimum. Okay, it is the number of schools. I think I don't want to commit any false, but yes, in terms of so it's the schools slash the projects, but not the amount of funding. So at least 1/3 of the schools to be funded have to be primary schools, and it's not 1/3, sorry, it's 30%. And at least 30% have to be secondary schools. Yes, it's number of schools. Yes, we are going to make available the recording of this session.
Anna, there was another question about a beach school that I understand that it's not a school like as a legal entity, who was asking if they can apply. I don't know if there are more participants that are not directly attached to a school, but they are from other organizations. If you can say a word to clarify this.
Yes, we always need to see exactly what is the organization, but in principle it is only schools. What can happen, I think, but here I also ask the support of Pedro. For example, if the school is owed legally by a foundation, for example, but as long as it is the school is the applicant, this is okay. But they cannot be, for example, I don't know, a company related to Bluelit that develops some kind of activities with youngsters and works with schools. This type of organization is not eligible. I was seeing here a message also from Maria João Sacadura. I'm from a private secondary school teaching the Cambridge syllabuses. We also an exam center for Cambridge. Yes, I think you can participate because you are. So the schools can be public or private, as long as they are from the primary or secondary school level, you are eligible. Pedro.
Yes, just to complement, if your organization has a different legal status than a school, as the example that Anna said, a foundation, you just need to give us evidence with a document from your national registry that states that despite you are a foundation, you are providing educational recognized by the Ministry of Education or by regional authority or then whatever authority exists in your country. So you just need to show that you are a school or a similar school or an entity similar to a school.
Thank you,
Sorry,
Pedro.
Pedro, I was writing another question. I didn't follow everything you said. Can you please say it again? Sorry.
Sorry, just explaining that in some situations there are or private entities or other type of entities that are not legally a school. They are, for example, a foundation, or in case of vocational educational training, in some cases there are companies as legal entities that are recognized certified training providers, and in those situations, those type of entities, they are eligible. They just need to show that they have a specific certification, for example, or a legal authorization recognizing them to act as a school or as a vocational education training provider.
Thank you, Pedro. Just the question that was put here, will there be new applications in 2025? Yes, the last one, but you can see, I will paste the text here. So there will be another 2 calls, the 3rd and the 4th. But you can see this information in that sacred document that I'm always mentioning, the call for proposals. So there is going to be another call opening in September 2024. You know that usually once the call opens, you have 2 months to prepare the application. So of course, this we will always, so this is not a strict commitment, but in principle, if the call will open in September 2024, it will be open. You can submit proposals until the end of November. And then the last one, the 4th call, in principle, it will open in March 2025. So it will have basically the same calendar as this one, but next year. So it would open in the beginning of March, and you can apply until the end of April 2025. And then the projects start in August, September 2025. And that's it. So the characteristics in terms of timing are and will be similar from this 2nd call until the 4th one. Usually you have 2 months to prepare your application. After this, more or less 2 months for us to do all the checks and evaluations. Then after this, the projects have more or less the duration or maximum 12 months or 11 months, more or less like that. Another question here. I'm partnering with the University of Azores and hope to be able to twin with the school there, but I already know there are no blue schools in that island. It is expensive to go from island to island, so it's okay to partner with the school. Is not. Yes, it is okay to partner with the school which is not yet a blue school. Absolutely. In fact, so what we want with the ProBleu and the other 2 projects that are using these funding schemes is to encourage schools to apply to the NABs. So I would say that it would be brilliant if you would partner with this school for your project and convince the school to apply to the NABs. I think this would value the project a lot. Then Raquel Patrocínio, the beginning and the limited age of the students. Our school has students older than 17 years because we are a vet school. Yes, so it's not the age that counts. I was just giving a reference of what is more or less common in all countries. So since I see that you are Portuguese, I say it's what corresponds to the 12th grade, to 12º ano. So the students can be older than 17 years old. The reference here is the school level, that is primary or secondary. That is the reference. If they are older than 17 or 18, it's fine, as long as they are in our case, Portugal, the compulsory to finish the escolaridade obrigatória. An email to contact you directly. You can use that email. Yes, that's it. ProBleu@probleu.school. Please use that email, because also we have to. It is to this email address that all the questions are directed, and we have to keep this record also for the transparency issues for the European Commission, and also to have the answers there and to update the FAQ. Okay. Do we have other questions or perhaps comments from partners? Okay. So again, about the NEBs, please note it's different. Now you are applying to ProBleu to receive this financial support up to 10,000 euros. You can apply to ProBleu if you are already a member of the NEBs. And if you are not a member of the NEBs, you need to apply now, or you need to include in your ProBleu application an activity to apply to the network of European Blue Schools. But these will be separate processes. One thing is now you applying to ProBleu, whether you are already a member of the NEBs or not. Another different thing is if you decide to apply now to the NEBs, which is great, that you can mention in ProBleu that you have applied already to the NEBs, but you will have to fill in a different form within the NEBs and the different applications. So these are two separate processes. Okay, then if there are no more questions, just some final words. You have there the email address that you can use to contact us. Of course, please check the FAQs. Please download the key document of the call for proposals. You have until the end of April to apply. If there is someone here that applied for the first call, very soon you will receive the results of the first call. So if your project receives financial support within the first call, you cannot, and if you accept this funding, of course, you cannot apply more for ProBleu. If you didn't receive financial support, you can check the results because you will receive a report with the comments from the evaluators. So you can check those comments, improve your application, and apply to this second call or to other ProBleu calls. The recording of this session will be available through our website. And I think that's it. And anything else, I will say 1, 2, 3 from my side. And if not, I will, if there aren't any other issues, I will give the word back to Ellie, perhaps, to say goodbye on behalf of the project.
Okay, so I want to thank you to all my partners and thank you to everybody who have attended this session. So we encourage you to apply to our call, and we encourage you to apply to be a member of the network of European Blue Schools. So you have some weeks to work on this, and if you have some question, please write us and try to do the best project you can, because this will help a lot to your students, and it's a nice way to engage them to take care of the ocean and the rivers. Thank you to everybody and have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a nice day.